Sir. Very good morning. Okay. So now we are in the discussion of components as well as sources of income tax law. If you observed how many components or sources we have in order to learn complete income tax law? 5. The first one is Income Tax Act 2025. Second one, Income Tax Rules 2026. Next one, Annual Finance Act. Next one, Circulars, Notifications, Case Law. So already we discussed something related to Act as well as rules. Can you tell me how many sections there in Income Tax Act 1961? 1961. 298. So now 536. Okay, how many chapters? 23 chapters. How many schedules? 16 schedules. Can you tell me it came into force on which date? 1/4/2026. Okay. Next we discussed about the rules also. Can you tell me who haven't power to frame the rules? CBDT. For what purpose they will release the rules? For what purpose CBDT will release the rules? That is only we have to know. The remaining things are very easy. Remember, in order to smooth implementation of the act, wherever required, CBDT will release the rules. So this is only called as step-by-step guidelines for implementation of act. So remember, this is very important. Already we discussed one example also. Along with the sections, if we have rules, then only we can implement the act. Otherwise, the many complications will be there. Smooth implementation purpose, definitely we have to read these two things combinedly. Understood, all of you? So now we can start our discussion with the third component, shall we? What is the third component, Annual Finance Act. I'll give the heading. See, what is it? Annual Finance Act. Sir, annual means already you know, every year we have to frame the Finance Act, right? For what purpose? In order to give the amendments to the both the direct tax laws as well as indirect tax laws. Clear? Okay. Again, I want to ask one more thing. So how this Annual Finance Act will form? Okay. Nowadays, tax on one income is low. Okay. Earlier and present, tax on certain incomes is low. But in future years, we want to increase this tax rate. In Act, tax rate on one income is too low. Now we want to increase the tax rate on that income for further years. How is it possible? By bringing amendments. How we can bring the amendments? By using Annual Finance Act. By using the what? Annual Finance Act. Okay, example. Nowadays, okay, in past also, present also, tax rate on one income is 5% only. How much, 5%. We want to propose the tax rate on that income for the future is 30%. So present rate 5%. Now we want to increase it to how much? 30%. This is called as what? Proposed change. Not finalized, or we didn't get any approval. Just we are making some proposals. Who can make these proposals? Union Finance Minister. Pura Union Finance Minister will document everything. The documentation only called as finance bill. The documentation only called as what? Finance bill. Not only the small matters, whole India budget also will drafted into one documentation. That is only called as what? Finance bill. Every year in February month. Okay, this is only the common procedure. So now can you tell me what is that, Every year, you can write along with me, Every year, every year, yes, the finance minister, can you tell me, the finance minister means state or central, Central. That's why the Union Finance Minister introduced the finance bill. Sir, why we are calling this as an finance bill because it didn't get any approval as of now. So that's why we can call this as an what ma finance bill. During the Venra this bill we are going to present during the what ma budget sessions. During the budget session. In which month these budget sessions will happen, sir? In February month. Okay, can you tell me now who is an Union Finance Minister? Nirmala Sitharaman. Okay, she will introduce every year finance bill in the budget sessions. Okay. Both the parties, that means ruling as well as opposition party, will review everything in the finance bill if they are given approval. If they are given the what ma? Approval. Yes, in both the houses of parliaments, they need to take the approval. Yes, we can take Lok Sabha as well as Rajya Sabha. In both the houses of parliament, if this bill got the assent, then it will be sent to the President of India for his approval. For his or her approval, automatically now this bill will be converted into what act. Once bill introduced in the budget sessions, they need to get an approval in the two stages. The first stage is both the houses of parliament. Second stage is President of India. Then only this bill will be converted into act. This is only called as what ma finance. Every year this is only the procedure. So now in 2026 February month, already we got Finance Act 2026. That is only now we are reading. In next year, February 27, one more bill introduced that will be got assent from the both the houses of parliament as well as President of India. That Finance Act, we can call it as what? Finance Act 2027. Every year, this is only the procedure. Sir, but our examinations, we have to refer which act? Finance Act 2026. Clear? Shall we write it down? Okay. But in a flow chart way, we can conclude this. First, what we have to introduce ma? Finance bill. After introducing the finance bill, what is the next procedure ma? Passed by both the houses of parliament. We can write it down in a full way. Yes, what is that first one? Lok Sabha. Next one ma? And Rajya Sabha. Okay, in shortcut, you can call it as in both the houses of parliament, but we can call it as, okay. Then it is converted into act. No. Then after passing from this stage, we have to send it to that whose assent? President. Yes, ma. President assent. Assent means nothing but what ma? Consent or approval. Now this finance bill can be called as an or converted into what ma? Finance Act. Sir, every year we are following the same procedure, right? So that's why it is only called as Annual Finance Act. Okay, every year we have to form the Finance Act in order to bring the amendments in the direct tax laws as well as indirect tax. Clear? Okay. Few more things we can write it down. But before writing the few more things in the Finance Act, we can write it down some more points also. Can you tell me present Finance Act is what ma? Yes ma. Present Finance Act, can you tell me? 2000. Please write down. Present Finance Act. Present Finance Act, can you tell me? 2026. 2026. Can you tell me for which examinations? For June 27 and December 27 examinations. Sir, this isn't just for your clarification. Okay. Next, what is the background objectives behind the introduction of Annual Finance Act? Please tell me. Because of this Annual Finance Act only, we can increase the tax rate, we can decrease the tax rate, we can remove the one provision, we can add the one provision, we can modify one provision. This is only called as amendment, right? If you are changing anything in the existing structure, that is only amendment. So, please write it down. every year, uh, can you tell me every year amendments? Can you tell me amendments means what? Ma? Changes. Every year amendments made into income tax law. What is that? Income tax law and what? Ma? Other tax laws. Other tax laws by, tell me, by Finance Act. So, understood? Further, maybe this is also they can test. Now we can discuss whatever the Finance Act is there, 2026. That Finance Act, yes ma, having 4 schedules. If you are open the Finance Act also, you can easily assess, and that will be bifurcated into how many schedules? 4. Can you tell me Act bifurcated into how many schedules? Without saying, please try. 16 schedules. Act, total Income Tax Act bifurcated into 16 schedules. Finance Act bifurcated into how many schedules? 4 schedules. Now we can discuss about that 4 schedules also. MCQ purposes, maybe they can test. So please try to write it down. Tell me, ma. Sorry, not 4 schedules, but we can write it down in another way also. First schedule to the, so, no, sorry. First schedule to the, many schedules will be there, but first schedules or first schedule in the Finance Act. First schedule in the what? Finance Act has 4 parts. Has how many parts, ma? 4 parts. Sorry, we discussed it as in 4 schedules. No, the many schedules will be there. But now we have to concentrate on which schedule, ma? First schedule having how many parts? 4 parts. So that 4 parts containing certain important matters. Now we can discuss that important matters. Shall we? Forget about the 4 schedules only there. So different schedules will be there, but we have to concentrate on the first schedule. In first schedule, how many important parts are there? 4. Part, yes ma, 1B. Part what? 1B. Yes ma. Next, part 1B. Next one ma, part 2. Next one ma, part 3. Next one ma, part 4. Every year in the Finance Act, we have to change these parts in the first schedule. Okay. Mostly during that February month, we gotten changes in tax rates. That is a buzz everywhere. The tax rates changed for individual, tax rates changed for the salaried employees. Like that, rebate limits are updated up to 12 lakh, no need to pay the tax. Many discussions will be circulated. Why? Because in the Finance Act, in the first part 1B, they will give the tax rates every year. These tax rates will be updated every time. Yes, remember, in part 1B, they given the, please try to write it down, ma. Tax rates for, yes ma, tax rates applicable for, tax rates applicable for current tax year. Can you tell me what is that current tax year? Ma, I will write it down TY. TY means what? Tax year. There is no space like previous years, assessment years now. Just we can call it as what, ma? Tax year. Can you tell me that is what? 26, 20, 26, 27. If you earned any income during this tax year, what are the tax rates are applicable? Clearly they given in the part 1B. These tax rates we will discuss in this chapter itself, but these tax rates where from where we are taking, from Finance Act first schedule part 1B. Okay. Second part, Shall we write it down, ma? Second part. Sir, okay. During this tax year, we are earning income. But at the time of earning the income itself, tax required to be deducted, right? TDS. What is that, ma? TDS. Example. Okay, this is a month, August. In this month, August, I am receiving the salary income. My employer will deduct the tax from my salary. Net amount only will credit it to my bank account, right? At what rate he required to deduct the tax? That given in the clarity. That given the clarity in which part? Part 2. So nothing but in part 2 of the first schedule of Finance Act, given the clarity about which rates? TDS rate. What rate, ma? TDS rates applicable for TDS rates applicable for current tax year. Can you tell me what is that current tax year, ma? 26, 27. Part 3 also related to TDS only, but specifically for two things. Okay. Now I will tell you. Ma, you know advance tax required to pay during the which year, ma? Tax year only. Because whenever you are earning the income, in that year only you have to pay the tax in advance. That is only called as what? Advance tax. How to calculate the advance tax like? Okay, during the previous year, I am earning the salary income, right? My employer required to deduct the tax from my salary income. How he can deduct the tax from my salary income? That all the rates given in the clarity in part 3. Salary related TDS, advance tax computation. In this process, we have to use the rates. That rates clarity given in which part, ma? Part 3. Other than all TDS given in the what, ma? Part 2. Please try to write it down, ma. TDS rates, or we can call it as rates for, in the same flow we can write TDS rates. What is that, ma? TDS rates for TDS rates for salary income. TDS rates for which income, bra? Salary income. Next, advance tax computation. Advance tax computation. Advance tax computation related rates given in which part, ma? Part 3. What is that? Part 3. So next, very important thing, many of us definitely will not know this part 3, part 4. Agricultural income. So how to calculate the agricultural income? I think in intermediate level, you know, tea, coffee, rubber, percentages, how to calculate the net agricultural income. These are all the rules given in the part 4 of the first schedule in the Finance Act. Yes, nothing but what is that, ma? Rules for calculating net agricultural income. Rules for calculating the what, ma? Net agricultural income. Ma, understood up to now? Sir, MCQ purposes only. Whenever example, okay. Now I want to explain the what are the tax rates applicable for this year. Okay, many taxpayer doesn't know this thing, but we can tell to that SSCs by using the first schedule in the Finance Act in part 1B. They clearly given the clarity what are the tax rates are applicable for this year. Suppose our SSC is doing the business, right? He is paying the salary income to his employees. Now he is asking, sir, at what rate I need to deduct the TDS? I will check which part, ma? Part 3. So our SSC is paying the interest to others. On that interest income paid to others, he want to deduct the TDS. What rate of TDS we have to use? That we can get in which part, ma? Part 2. So now our SSC business, our business SSC is want to calculate the advance tax. Nothing but our SSC is doing the business. He wants to pay the advance tax during this tax year. So how to calculate this advance tax and all the things? Which part I have to check? Part 3. Agricultural income related computation, the percentage 75, 25, 60, 40 percentages, that all the rules will be given in which part? Part 4. Clear? This is only the discussion related to finance sector. Not only in this, every year this drama will repeat. Clear? Next part shall we start, ma? What is the next part we are going to start? Circulars are under, because both the things will be there. Circulars and notifications. Okay, again I will ask the same thing, ma. What is the purpose of rules? For smooth implementation of the act, definitely the CBDT will release the what, ma? Rules. Act, rules combinedly, if implemented, act will applicable for the next. What is that component, ma? D. Circulars and notification. Please give the heading, ma. Copied earlier one. Earlier one copied circulars and notification. My earlier part copied totally. Okay. Side by side we can write it down. First part, yes, we can write it down about the circulars. Yes, in this side we can write about the what, ma? Notifications. First part is what, ma? Circulars. Second part is what, ma? Notification. First we'll concentrate on the circular. Okay, general meaning of circulars, first tell me. General meaning. Passing some information to others, circular means simply. Okay, passing some information to others. Okay. But okay, first and foremost point, who will release the rules? Who will release the rules, ma? CBDT. Then first point here I want to discuss, who will release the circulars or who will issue the circulars? Act framed by central government in the parliament. Rules released by the CBDT. Circulars also released by the CBDT only. Circulars also will release by the whom? CBDT. Now, rules purpose, you know something. Okay, for smooth implementation of the act, some cases we need what? Rules. Now, circular purpose I want to know. If you know the purpose, automatically wherever you are using the word of circular in any chapter also, you can understood easily. Now I want to know the purpose of the circulars. Ma? We want to give the information to taxpayers. Okay. Now I will tell you. By using the Finance Act, okay, they given one new provision in the act. Okay, one new provision in the act. That provision is applicable for that SSCs who are doing the business or profession. But I am also doing the business or profession. But now I haven't doubts over that particular provision. Now I haven't doubts over the what, particular provision. What are the doubts? Whether it is applicable for me or not. If applicable, at what rate I have to pay the tax? Many doubts I have. The doubts clarification will be done by CBDT by using the what? Simply, if any SSCs, taxpayers having the doubts over any provision, now CBDT come with the what? Circular. So nothing but frequently asked questions. Okay. They will release the frequently asked questions as well as the doubts related clarification also in certain document, that is only called as what? Circular. So now, is there any time limit for issuing the circular? No. Every day they can release the 3 or 4 also, 5 also. Whenever required, they will release the what? Circulars. Who will release the circular? First tell me. CBDT. First point, that is only I will write it down. CBDT will issue, CBDT will issue circulars from time to time. From time to time means what ma? Whenever it is required, they will release the what ma? Second point. What is the purpose of releasing the circular? Tell me ma. What is the purpose ra? To clarify doubts over, to clarify doubts regarding, that is correct word, doubts regarding scope and meaning of the provisions. Meaning of what ma? Provision. Sir, I will tell you one more example ra. One TDS provision is introduced ra. Okay, as per that provision, whether I required to deduct the tax or not, I don't know. I haven't many doubts. Okay, at what rate I have to deduct the TDS also, I haven't doubts. By way of reading the act, we got certain doubts. So all the doubts, if we are sending to the department, now CBDT will release the circular in order to clarify all those doubts. Okay. Now, purpose understood. Sir, many students are reading the rules and the circulars are one and the same. No. Purpose is different. If you are observing, both are released by whom? CBDT only. But the purpose is different. Example, one provision is there. We can't implement that provision in all the cases. That's why they will come up with the what rules. So rules means nothing but they will give some exception. They will give some additional guidance also in the rules. But a circular's purpose is nothing but what if any doubt is there for the taxpayer regarding any provision or provision applicability, they will release the what circular. So now third point. If any circular released by the CBDT, the two parties is there in income tax totally. The first party is taxpayer, second party is department. Who required to follow these circulars mandatorily? Department. Who required to follow these, whatever the circulars released by the CBDT? Department. The first and foremost authority is CBDT. Below CBDT, all the department officials will be there. So that's why ordinate given the one circular, that's why all these subordinates definitely required to follow this what circular issued by the CBDT. Then what about the taxpayer? If it is useful for the taxpayer, he can follow. Otherwise, he can ignore. Example, you are all are students. You don't have any income. Example, maybe you are all are salaried employees. Okay. But that circular related to business income. Maybe that circular applicable for me, that is beneficial for me, I will follow. But in your case, if it is beneficial, you can follow. Otherwise, you will ignore. But department side, always they have to bound over the what circulars released by the CBDT, because their ordinates are given the one order like a circular, they have to follow. So then the 2 points we can write it on. Can you tell me? Department. Department means nothing but what all officers in the income tax department will bound by the what circular. Bound means nothing but they have to follow it. They have to follow it. So then what about the SSE side? SSE can take advantage over what advantage over beneficial circulars. Advantage over what beneficial circulars. If that circular is beneficial for you, you can take advantage. Otherwise, you can ignore. So these points they can ask as an MC. Who have a responsibility to follow the circular department? Who have an advantage over the circulars? SSE. If that is useful, he can follow. Otherwise, he can ignore. Understood? So then we can go to the notifications part. We can go to the what ma? Notifications part. Tell me, what do you mean by the notification first? Okay, example, Income Tax Act. Okay, clearly saying you have to file the returns. Due dates will be there. But in certain cases, they can extend the due date. But how they will notify the extension of due date to that all the users? Notification. So nothing but the passing some information to the taxpayers. But now the notifications, now I will classify into two types. Yes, notifications I will classify into two types. Can you tell me? First, notifications with respect to the Income Tax Act. Notifications with respect to, yes ma, rules. Now my doubt, who will give the notifications? With respect to Act, central government itself will give the notification. Because Act framed by whom? Central government. In the parliament. Now the rules also, notifications also will issue by the whom? Central government. Okay, rules framed by whom? CBDT. Notifications related to these rules also will issue by the whom? CBDT. CBDT will issue ESMA rules. Now, sir, who can issue the notifications? We discussed. CBDT will issue the notifications related to rules. Sir, now I want to discuss the main point. What is that purpose? Why we required to check with the notifications? Why they will release the notifications first? Again, we can recall. What is that purpose of issuing the rules? For smooth implementation of the act, definitely CBDT required to issue the rules. Circulars purpose, if any doubt is there over the provision, in order to clarify the doubts, they will release the circulars. Now notifications purpose I want to know. To aware, but no. I will tell you simple example. Okay, simple example. Okay, if you are going to do the business, okay, I think in 2014-15, BJP government, whenever it is came into ruling, they introduced the skill development project. Okay, if you are going to give the skill development to the public or nothing but who are pursuing education like BCom, etc., if you are providing the skill development services, yes, you will get 100% of your whatever that amount you are invested, that 100% deduction you can get. That means the building, if you constructed for skill development, that building construction cost also you will get it as deduction. And whatever that equipment you placed in that business places, that equipment also you will get it as deduction. How much deduction? 100%. Technically no need to pay the tax. Why? Because you are supporting the some students who are lacking in the skills. So that can introduce it in the act in 2014. Skill development project, and some more projects also introduced, agricultural extension project, skill development project, etc. Simply how much amount of deduction in those sections? 100. In act they are given just a heading of the section, how much deduction you can get. In act section 35 series, old act section 35 series. Okay, but later they given notification. In that notification, they clearly given the guidance, how much building dimensions also you have to place. Or if this notification is not there, definitely at my home, in terrace itself, I can develop the skill development center. But in notification, they given the guidelines, how many square feet building you have to replace, and what is the computer's configuration also. They given the notification, That means if you want to claim the deduction under those section, definitely you have to follow the guidelines given in what notification. That means by using this notification, provision effectiveness increased or decreased? Increase. That means the notification purpose always to give the effectiveness towards the what provision. Okay, one more example I will tell you. What is the due date as per Income Tax Act? Normal fellows 31st/7. But that is extended suppose to the 1 month 31st August. Now can you tell me as per Act due date is what 31st/7. Now that is increased. Now can you tell me the provision effect is done or not? In order to give the effect to the provisions, always the department will give the what notification. Okay. That many are thinking that all are one and the same. No. Doubts clarification purpose, circulars, in order to smooth implementation purpose, rules, in order to affect the provisions in the act, they will come up with the what notifications. Clear? Yep. Example, if they are not giving the notification, we don't know due date. But can you tell me because of this notification, effect done to the what provisions? As per the provisions, due date is 31st/7. Because of this notification, due date is what 31st August. Can you tell me because of notification, effect done to the provisions contained in the act? So please try to write it down. Purpose, can you tell me? To give effect to the provisions. Next, if they are given the notification, who can give the notification? Central government or CBDT? If they are given the notification, both the parties required to bounded over on the notification. Both the parties means SSC department. SSC as well as what department. So please try to write it down. Notifications are binding on who? Binding on both SSC and department. The differentiation, circular's point of view binding over is different. Notifications point of view binding over is different. Here both the fellows required to follow. Example, if you want to claim section 35, that is skill development related deduction, you have to follow the notification guidelines also. And the department also definitely they should know about the what are the content given in the what notification. Okay. Sir, in previous year or in any tax year, how many notifications, how many circulars they can issue? There is no limit. Time to time they can issue. Whenever they are given the notifications, notification 1/2026, notification 2 yes ma, 2/2026, like a number they will give. Okay, if I want to give the one reference, I will talk with the notification 10/2026. So then easily you can download from our website itself. Website means nothing but income tax websites itself. You can download all the circulars as well as notifications also. Yes. So that means whatever given in the act, so automatically if you know these things, you can't know complete thing. Along with the rule, along with the annual finance act, along with the circulars and notification, then only you can know complete things related to income tax law. If you know only sections, maybe for exam purpose, okay. But for doing the practicals in that, okay, tax computation, TDS computations related, always we have to refer these things also. Don't worry, okay, we have many things to refer, but after completion of the CMA course, okay, we have a website, Google, etc. Everything can be accessible. But now, for exam purpose, certain extent you have to remember. One more thing, So nowadays we are referring this annual finance act, but after your qualification, maybe finance act 2028 or 27 will be there. Definitely you have to update yourself by using the updated act. So that means everything we have to by heart or remember, not required, just save in your phone. Whenever is required, you can access and you can know about the what is the changes made also. But first, if you know these contents, automatically changes you can read on your own also. If you are not understood exact wordings, automatically simply you can convert into simple English. Okay, now last part, what is that? Case laws. Okay, so now we can discuss the last part in the components or sources of income tax law. Can you tell me what is that? Case law. So I will give you one case law reference. Based on that, I will explain everything. Okay. And one more thing, sir, earlier 1961 act is there. Under that, we have many case laws. But 2025 act implemented now only, I think. We are in that August month. Okay, March. Okay, sorry, April, May, June, July. 4 months only done. It came into force on what? 1/4/2026. That means April, May, June, July. In these 4 months, we don't have any case laws also. But how we can refer the case laws? Remember, they clearly given the guidance. Whatever that earlier case laws are there, still that is applicable only now also. You can take the reference from the what? Earlier case laws. But in earlier case laws, section numbers are different, right? We have to replace with the existing section references. Okay. Earlier case laws are there, but different section numbers. But same case laws now also applicable. Just you have to replace with the new sections. This is clearly given in the transitional provision. Transitional means nothing but whenever they are given the any new act, yes, they will give the transitional provisions. Yes, in the transitional provisions, clearly they given the guidance. Earlier case laws as it is applicable, but you have to change the section numbers. So based on that only, I will take the 1 point. Okay. Your favorite heroine name, maybe you don't know this heroine name. Can you tell me? Okay, but not related to heroine. Soundarya nurseries are there in Madras. On that time, okay, Madras, now Chennai. What is that nursery name? Soundarya nursery. Practically happened case law also. Can you tell me in which state? Tamil Nadu. Okay. Surroundings of Chennai, on the time Madras. Okay, one nursery is there. Can you tell me what activities we can see in the nurseries? They will grow the plants and they are selling it to the others. So you can observe in nurseries, in olden days, nowadays also, we are growing the plants on earth also. We are growing the plants on some vessels also. That means plastic covers, the plastic trays, etc. You can observe. Okay, both the options will be there. Some plants are grown on what? Earth. Some plants are grown on what? Plastic covers and vessels as well as trays also. Remember. But whatever that income they are generated, that income by way of selling the plants, they are saying it as an what? Agricultural income, because the growing activity is there. They are saying this as an what? Agricultural income. Their point of view. That means agricultural income is what? Exempt. You know already entry number 82 in the list 1 of the 7th schedule to the article number 246. We haven't power to collect the tax on income except on agricultural income. Agricultural income is completely exempt. Okay, they are also taken that provision as an base. They are clearly saying that is an exempt. But income tax department is clearly arguing, yes, there is a huge dispute between these two fellows. What is the dispute? I will tell you. Income tax department have an argument. If you want to call as an agricultural income, you should conduct the basic operation on what ma land. What do you mean by the basic operation? Example, seeding and watering, growing the plant must be attached to what land. Then we can accept it as an agricultural income. But you are growing all the plants on what ma plastic covers, vegetables, etc. So that's why we will not accept this income as an agricultural income. Both the point of views having the validity. So definitely, if you are thinking from their side, okay, we can accept the growing of plants will be related to agriculture. But income tax department have an argument. If you want to call as an agricultural income, like farmers are conducting the basic operations related to agricultural activities must be attached to land. But in your case, you are growing all the trees on what ma plastic covers as well as the plastic vessels as well as trees. Now, what is that IT department argument? Please try to recollect. Basic operations. What is that ma? Basic operations. So basic operations means nothing but yes ma seeding, watering, etc. Yes, these are all are not carried on what ma land. These are all are not carried on land. So that's why they are saying it is not a agricultural. That if any dispute between the taxpayer as well as SSE is there, so definitely it will leads to court. Now all levels of court pass. Now this case is pending before the High Court. So definitely the low level courts and the appeals all are done. Finally, this case is now pending before what? High Court. So now High Court is given the ruling favorable to the Hura. Any idea? So High Court is given the judgment already. High Court was given already judgment. Can you tell me this judgment was favorable to whom? Okay, heroine covered Soundaryak favorable. Yes, sir. Remember, they given the judgment in favor of SSE only. So nothing but the favorable judgment, yes, given by the High Court to the Soundarya nurseries only. Sir, on what base they are given the judgment? Growing is enough to treat that as an agricultural activity. Whether the basic operations are carried on that land, not carried on that land, that is irrelevant. So plantation means what ma some growing activity will be there. Na? So that growing activity is enough to considered as what ma agriculture. So that growing itself constituted as what agricultural activity. Now, sir, whatever the landmark judgments given by the High Court and Supreme Court, that is only we have to refer as an case laws, not by the district as majestic courts. Remember, whatever the case laws, whatever the judgments given by the High Court level as well as Supreme Court level, definitely we have to refer. Why we need to refer, sir? Example, in your hometown or in any one of your known relatives started the nursery business. If they are asking, do I need to pay any tax? Definitely you have to say what? No need to pay any tax on the nurseries related income. Why? This shall be constituted as what? Agricultural activity only. On what basis you can say these things to your client? Because of Soundarya nurseries case law. Because it is a landmark judgment given by the High Court of Tamil Nadu. Based on this, simply you can follow and you can follow the same things to the nurseries. All over India, no one is paying the tax. No one means nothing but whoever having the nursery businesses, no one is paying the tax based on this case law only. So that's why if you know proper act, but there is no use also. You know act properly. But because of this because of these judgments, if you know, your effectiveness will be increased. That's why Not only this case law, like this, the many case laws will be there. If you know all these things, then only you can become the perfect in the income tax law. So in our syllabus, some case laws will be there. We can discuss that also. The first case law discussion is already over. Can you tell me what is that case law? Soundarya Nursery case law. So now I want to finalize everything. Please try to remember judgments given by. Can you tell me? Judgments given by which courts? High Court as well as Supreme Court are important. Are what important in order to study which law? Income tax law. In order to study which law? Income tax law. Understood? Done. Yes, you will get an up. These classes same, whatever the classes conducted in YouTube, you will get the same classes in app also. By end of the evening we can upload. Dana. So now we discussed what is that content sources as well as the components of what income tax law. So don't buy head lines and every point is not required. Summary is enough. Summary means, okay, if you are asking summary, I can tell you purpose. What is the purpose of circular? What is the purpose of notification? What is the purpose of rules? That's enough. The remaining things automatically you can remember. How many sections are there in income tax? Doubt? How many sections are there in Income Tax Act 2025? 536. How many chapters? 20. Schedules? 16. Okay. In first schedule to the Annual Finance Act. First schedule to the Annual Finance Act. How many important parts? 4. Part 1B is given the tax rates for the current tax year. Part 2, TDS rates for the current tax year. Part 3, TDS rates related to salary and advance tax related computation rates. Next, what is that part 4? Rules related to net agricultural income computation. What is the purpose behind giving the rules? In order to implement the act in a smooth way. What is the purpose behind the giving the circulars? In order to clarify the doubts over the provision. What is the purpose of notifications? To affect the provisions. Next, who can give the rules? CBDT. Who can give the circulars? CBDT. Who can give the notifications? Remember, the notifications related to act, central government. Notifications related to rules, CBDT. So that's end for today discussion. Tomorrow we can start with the charging section. Okay. Tomorrow we can start with the charging section. If the charging section is over, entire basic concept chapter also over. It will take 5 to 6 hours also. In the charging section itself, we can discuss the tax rates, surcharge rates, rebate concept, marginal relief concept, all the things we can route towards the charging section only. Tomorrow we can start that. Okay. Take a break.